Hello and welcome to this episode of Cosmic Crow Tarot, where today we're going to be talking about the 5, 6, and 7 of Swords, the Minor Arcana cards astrologically connected to the 3 Deacons of Aquarius. Hello and welcome to this episode of Cosmic Crow Tarot, where today we're going to be talking about the 5, 6, and 7 of Swords, the Minor Arcana cards astrologically connected to the 3 Deacons of Aquarius. The 5 of Swords begins around January 20th, 21st and goes to the end of January. The 6 of Swords is February 1st to February about 10th, and the 7 of Swords is the next Deacon, the 11th through the 20th before Pisces season starts. Now, if you want to know all the astrological correspondence to every single card in the deck, then check out that video that I have. I'll put it in the link below so you can, I'll put the playlist because there's I think 13 different videos that tell you all of the astrological correspondences. But today I just want to talk about the sequence, like the 5 of Swords. This is a card I call the victim or victor or victim card. And the illustration that we see in the Rider-Waite-Smith, this is the Wiser Tarot to be exact. And I absolutely love the coloring in this deck. It's gorgeous. It's like watercolor and everything. And just the sky alone here, that purple, it follows in all 3 of these illustrations. Because the mind is the mind. That's the logic and wisdom. But it's hindered by those emotions. That's the red. The blue is the logic, the red is the emotions, and those two together are what causes probably to feel like we're the victor or the victim of our stories. So this illustration that we see is one of the ones that so many decks are inspired by. And you see all the 3 different characters here. Which one do you relate to? Are you this one, the victor, always winning, always succeeding, always being the one in control? Or do you feel more like these people walking away, being taken advantage of? They still have their swords. There's 2 swords right there available, but the character up here makes them think that they don't have it. They are turning around to that ocean of emotion, looking at it, for lack of a better word, feeling sorry for themselves, thinking that they can't move forward. So that mind is being overwhelmed. But why? Because those emotions are what are pulling them under. There, even the red of his shoes, there's that character in the front, that red shows that passionary thing. They feel like the victor. But look closely at those shoes on the other 2 characters in the back. The red is right there on his shoulder as if to suggest, I have that passion still, but I'm afraid to use it. And both of their shoes are that dull yellow. The yellow is more creativity, at least that's how I see it, that joy and happiness. But the fact that it's dulled right there kind of gives me the idea that the happiness is not necessarily here, because those emotions, those negative feelings are making these people think that they're only going to be a victim for the rest of their lives. Like the 5 of Cups, that's astrologically connected to the 1st Deacon of Scorpio. Those emotions are what's going to pull them under. Those emotions are what are making them feel like they can't trust themselves and trust their minds. They don't feel rational because those emotions are pulling them under. But like the 5 of Cups, right here, this change and transformation energy, the Hierophant of the Major Arcana, the teacher of the cards, those 2 swords right there, shows that not all is lost. That's intuition, that's trust, that's compassion for ourselves, and trusting that we can change our lives and change our stories for the better when we change that mindset and learn from those experiences. That's where the 6 of Swords comes in, which is astrologically connected to, well, at the time of this video being made, it's very much this energy right now, because it's February 1st to February 10th. And this energy right here, that's leaving it behind, those negative emotions, and finding a time of peace and harmony. Now, I will tell you a really kind of funny, a little bit ridiculous story about when I was first learning tarot and studying and everything. We've all heard of The Walking Dead, right? It's one of the most famous, popular TV shows out there. I stopped watching it a long time ago. I was a huge Carl fan, and then when he was gone, so was I watching that show. But anywho, I drew a card once. It was right towards one of the season endings where they were just going after Negan. And I asked the cards how the outcome was going to be, just to see, if it connected, because I was very, very new at this. And then the card that came up was the 6 of Swords. That they are going to move forward and find a time of peace and harmony. And if you've watched the show, that's exactly what they did. I mean, there's still those issues and everything they had to find because they're living in a zombie apocalypse, but that episode showed that peace and harmony was actually found. So I just thought that was cool, and it was kind of like one of those confirmations that the tarot really works, even if I don't understand how it does. Anywho, the 6 of Swords following the 5 of Swords shows that energy of leaving those negative emotions behind, learning from the experiences so we can find that peace and harmony within and find it moving forward. All of the swords in the illustration we have here, they're all in front now. You've got all your swords in a row. You've got all that knowledge and wisdom. And there, that yellow is colorful again because you know the future is yours to create. I like the fact that the sky is still very much purple because it's the blend of that logic and the heart working in tandem to create lives that we love and enjoy. After all, the 6 is the number of the lovers of the Major Arcana and self-reflection. So taking that time to reflect from all those times that we felt like victims in our lives can absolutely help us move forward and find that peace and harmony within so we can feel like we can be the victors of our stories moving forward. And this particular illustration of the 6 of Swords shows we don't have to do it alone. You know, maybe the character in this illustration, the one that was there with us when we felt like the victim, can help us move forward, can help us learn from it. You know, talk with them, let those negative feelings fall away because we know that we aren't alone. As this is the suit of the mind, though, it's very possible as well to find that peace and harmony all on our own, to find that peace within by taking that time to look within and loving who we are. Now, the 7 of Swords, as you can tell from this particular illustration, and while I do greatly enjoy these, the Rider-Waite-Smith of the 7 of Swords, it doesn't really coincide with my personal thoughts about the suit of the mind. After all, we call it the suit of the mind, the swords, the truth of ourselves. So this whole thief energy of this card kind of goes against those like personal individual thoughts. I don't know exactly how I'm trying to word this, but there you can see the character right there taking away with what's not theirs, and likely doing it in the beginnings of the morning, you know, purple sunrise. I don't see the sunrise very much. I see sunsets a lot, and they do have kind of purple to them, more pink than anything. But that color there, again, heart and mind working together, and he's leaving 2 swords, so it connects back to this card really well, showing that logic and that intuition and that compassion and kindness that we can have for ourselves when we come to that peace and harmony within and see ourselves as the victors of our stories. This illustration, though, you know, you see this, and immediately the first thought that always comes in my head of this card comes up is lock your doors when you walk away from your car, and lock your doors at night, because not everybody can be trusted. A lot of people are out there want to take advantage of you, just like this character here. But my personal way of seeing this card has always been stealing back that confidence, finding that peace and harmony within, seeing ourselves as the victors of our stories, so we can have that confidence to get behind the wheel of our chariots and drive ourselves where we want to be. Because 7, as we know, is the number of the chariot. To me, it's overcoming obstacles that stand in our way of that success, wealth, and empowerment that comes with the energy of the 8. Now, technically, when it comes to the suit of the mind, the 8, the 9, and the 10, not so positive, but we're not talking about those today. We're just talking about these 3, and there's power in this card. When we steal back that confidence, when our hearts and our minds, the red and the blue, are working together so we can trust our intuitions and trust that we can follow our passions moving forward. Now the whole thing has changed here. The character here that was all like negative and everything in victim story has the red shoes now. Now, at least that's how I'm going to see it. That guy has red hair and that guy clearly doesn't. That guy has very much black hair. So it could very much be that same character. And he's looking back saying, I have this now. I'm not going to let this negativity pull me back. I've done that inner work. I've found that peace and harmony. And now I'm taking back what is mine so I can move forward with the confidence I need. If we look, he has 5 swords that he's holding on to all on his own. So that energy of the 5 of swords of changing that mindset can give him what he needs to change his story for the better. And they, the ones that hurt him, the ones that took advantage of him, the ones that made him feel like a victim, he left them with 2 swords so they can learn from their experiences too. So the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Riser Tarot as it has right here, is so great at the energy, showing those the transition that comes between these 3 cards, the empowerment that is there. But as we know, there are hundreds, actually, who am I kidding? There are millions of tarot decks out there at this point that have different illustrations that show different things. And I've got 2 more I want to show you of this sequence, and they're both Patrick Valencia's work because I think his mind works a lot like mine, and I just... Well, you know me and Deviant Moon Tarot. I'm obsessed with it. So I'm not actually showing you the actual Deviant Moon Tarot. I'm showing you the paradoxical version of the Deviant Moon Tarot. Like, these colors are fantastical, fascinating, just dark and creepy and so vibrant too. I'm in love with this deck. It is extremely rare, definitely out of print. There might be like copies out there for somewhere, but I think only like 500 of these were created when they first created them. So I'm not sure if you can get your hands on it, but it's definitely worth it if you do. I mean, look at the 3 illustrations. Now the 5 of Swords is right here. And the illustration is not that similar to the 5 of Swords we obviously had in the Rider-Waite-Smith, but we still have the victim or victor energy. There's those 2 swords, just like there's 2 swords down there. There's the one sword he's using as a cane, and 2 other ones that he's holding behind him. So he's got this strong intuition. He is the victor of this story. And there in the background, in the regular Rider-Waite, or irregular Deviant Moon Tarot, that's going to be the white flag of surrender. But, you know, paradoxical negative energy, like negatives when it comes to like looking at an old picture or something, that energy is what's in this card. So obviously it's going to be black because it's opposite. But that energy there, that victor or victim story is still very much here. But in the mind of Patrick Valencia and the Deviant Moon universe, the victor is right here. It's front and center, telling you that you can be the victor of your story when you change and transform your mind, change and transform that mindset to think that you can be the victor of your story. Sticking your tongue out at the people that hurt you, took advantage of you, made you feel like a victim, be like, you can't touch me anymore. I've changed that mindset. I know my worth. I trust my intuition, and I found that peace and harmony within to find peace and harmony moving forward. So the 6 of Swords in this one is my absolute all-time favorite illustration of the 6 of Swords. Unlike, let me find that card again, unlike the 6 of Swords of the Rider-Waite-Smith, there is no one else in this illustration. There's no one making the character feel like they need help in this. They're doing it themselves. Because how is that hot air balloon? How freaking cool is that hot air balloon? How is that hot air balloon moving? But the character's mind. He's confident enough in himself. He's let that pain of the past go. He's changed his life for the better because he let those experiences that made him feel like a victim transform his knowledge and everything so that he could trust himself and find that love and appreciation for himself as he reflects on it so he can move forward to happier times. Now, it's difficult to see in the paradoxical version, but this is all flames and everything on the left, and this is new horizons and opportunity on the right. So moving forward, releasing the pain of the past. This illustration, just like the Rider-Waite-Smith illustration, they are not looking towards that past at all. They've let it go so that they can move forward and find that peace and harmony within. The Rider-Waite-Smith may have showed multiple people, but this one shows you and only you have the power to change that mindset. Talking to people, getting advice, having a health professional or something like that can absolutely help you find that clarity of the mind. But at the end of the day, it's you. You've got to do that inner work. You've got to start believing you can be the victor of your story instead of the victim and find that peace and harmony moving forward, finding that confidence to go after what you want. Now, the 7 of Swords in this illustration, rather strange, but you remember that energy I told you I saw with the 7 of Swords? I don't see it as the card of taking away with people's stuff in the middle of the night or the early mornings when they're asleep, although that's entirely possible because, again, people can be very, very mean and want to take advantage of other people just because they can, hence the reason we feel like a victim to our stories. But this 7 of Swords, again, like the 6 of Swords, shows no one else around. Also, take a moment to just appreciate the color of that character's dress. I love it. I love those colors together. But that energy there, you know, she's doing it to herself. She's got that doubt. She's got that anxiety. She is the reason she's being a thief to herself. So again, it's finding that confidence to get behind the wheel of our chariots, to clear those minds, clear those obstacles within so that we can find that success that waits with the 8, just not technically with the 8 of Swords, because that's the card of feeling like a prisoner in our own lives to our own minds. The mind needs a lot of help sometimes, and it's those emotions most of the time that makes us feel this way. But this card, this individual energy that shows in the Deviant Moon paradoxical version, shows That's our minds can be our greatest enemies, stealing that confidence, making us think that we're not good enough. But if we take back that control, we know and see our own worth, then absolutely anything is possible. So, stick your tongue out at those people that just don't think that you're good enough. Believe you are good enough by changing that mindset and seeing your worth. Move forward to find that peace and harmony that you deserve, and steal back that confidence and know that you are the one with the power to drive yourself forward, to make your destiny what you want it to be. That is the Deviant Moon Paradoxical from the Genius Mind of Patrick Valencia. And one more deck from Patrick Valencia, and then I'll send you on your way to change that mindset, find that peace, and steal back that confidence you deserve to have. 5 of Swords, 6 of Swords, and 7 of Swords from the Trionfi della Luna illustrated pips. This is a mass market version, so it's very much available to anybody that's obsessed with his work too, and you don't have this deck already. So worth it. 5 of Swords here. Again, the Rider-Waite-Smith, right here, shows more than one character. This illustration right here shows none. Again, it's kind of like that 7 of Swords we saw with the Deviant Moon Paradoxical. The character is doing all the damage to themselves, all those experiences of the past, all the reason that they feel like the victim of their story is causing them to turn against themselves. There's those 2 swords, though. There's that hope. There's that potential. There's that kindness, compassion, and empathy that we gain from the experience of the past so that we can trust our intuitions and change our lives for the better. Again, it's this character. It's you. It's you with the power to change that mindset for the better. See your worth. See your potential. See your power. And trust your intuition so you can find that peace and harmony that you deserve. Peace and harmony is exactly where this character is going. Like the other 2 illustrations of the 6 of Swords that I showed a moment ago. This one shows not looking towards the past either. It's moving forward, finding that peace and harmony that we deserve within, so we can find that peace and harmony externally. All 6 swords are right there because you've reflected on the past. You've learned from it. You've changed that mindset. You stopped sabotaging yourself and feeling like you're not good enough, and you found that peace of harmony. Like the characters there in the Ocean of Emotion, just like that character in the 6 of Swords of the Rider-Waite-Smith. The 6 of Swords in the Deviant Moon Tarot was in the sky, so I'm not going to use that one right now. But that ocean of emotion, again, those emotions are what likely cause our logic and our trust in our minds to falter, because but the experience of their past cause us not to trust ourselves. So leaving that behind, finding that time of peace and harmony can absolutely lead us to having that confidence we need to get behind the wheel and go where we want next. This illustration very much screams that same illustration energy of the Rider-Waite-Smith right there, because the character is stealing from a circus, just like this character is stealing from a circus or a carnival in the early morning, or actually there's the moon, so maybe it's like night after everybody goes to sleep, because there's even stars and everything too. But you can see the moon in the early morning too, I suppose. Either way, whatever time it is, this is a dastardly man that doesn't think that, these people deserve what they have, so he's stealing them. But that confidence to steal them, that's stealing back that mind, because let's not forget that this is the 7 of the suit of the mind. It's overcoming those obstacles in our mind so we can find that success that we deserve. And there are those 2 swords, right back to those 2 swords, showing that trust in our intuition, those experiences that we have in our lives that we wish we didn't. We're still here, still fighting, still going. And when we clear our minds, change that mindset. 5 swords right there, showing the blood and tears that we might have spilled because we felt like victims all the time. When we cleared our minds and found that peace and harmony, we absolutely can find the confidence we need to change our lives for the better, trust our intuitions to drive us forward. The energy of Aquarius, which is the energy of this sequence, as well as the star of the Major Arcana, and the King of Swords, and the last deacon would be the Knight of Cups connected to Pisces. But those energies show that just that weird and proud. Aquarius is my personal favorite sign of the zodiac because they are not afraid to be weird, to be awesome, to be true to themselves. These are the people that love conspiracies, love thinking, the fixed mind energy of the world, showing that star power when we're not afraid to be weird and proud of it. Deviant Moon Tarot, definitely, it's like the best of the weird, I think. I just, you know me and Deviant Moon, I love it. But that energy here that I wanted to share with you today, I love that energy. I love that progression when we have that confidence to steal back our power, steal back our potential, trust our minds to lead us forward, as well as our hearts, because we're taking the time to change our mindsets and heal them. Find that ability to rise above that negativity, change our lives for the better by changing our mindsets, and move forward to have that confidence we need to get behind the wheel of our lives and drive ourselves where we want to be. As always, I want to thank you for watching. If you want a reading with any of these 3 decks or any of the ones in my collection, then feel free to comment on this video, message me on the socials, or book one directly on my website. And as I said, I'll put that link down below where you can check out the playlist that I have of all the different astrological videos, because again, I have every single one, all 78 cards, if you're interested in checking that out. But again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again in the next one.